You know, it's funny. Just when you think ancient Egypt has given up all its secrets, the sands shift and something new comes along that just completely blows our minds. Today, we're diving into two absolutely incredible stories that prove, without a doubt, that the land of the pharaohs is far from done astonishing us. Okay, let's get into it.
So we're looking at two totally fascinating puzzles today, separated by about a century. On one hand, you've got this stunning, brand new discovery, the first pharaoh's tomb found in 100 years, the tomb of Thutmose II. And on the other, a mystery that's been bugging experts since 1922, this perfectly made iron dagger found with King Tut, an object that, for all we knew about technology back then, just shouldn't exist.
And that's the big question, right? King Tut's tomb was sealed up tight, deep in the Bronze Age. The know-how to forge iron just wasn't supposed to be around for hundreds more years. So, how in the world did this impossible dagger end up right there, beside the boy king? That's the first riddle we're going to tackle.
All right, so to really get why this dagger is such a massive deal, we need to do a quick history refresh on how ancient people worked with metal. It really all boils down to three things: heat, knowledge, and what you could dig out of the ground.
Okay, so let's break it down. Humanity's journey with metal really gets going in the Copper Age, around 3300 BCE. People figured out smelting, but the tools were, well, they were pretty soft. Then came a huge leap forward, the Bronze Age, around 3000 BCE. You mix a little tin with that copper and boom, you get bronze, a much stronger ally. And look right here, this is exactly the period when Tutankhamun was alive. The Iron Age? That required furnaces that could get way, way hotter and a whole new level of technology. And that didn't kick off until more than a century after Tut was already in his tomb.
So this is the absolute heart of the problem. The timeline is crystal clear. When they sealed that tomb, the technology to smelt iron from ore found here on Earth, it just didn't exist. The furnaces couldn't get hot enough, the knowledge simply wasn't there. It's like finding a brand new iPhone in a photograph from the 1920s. It makes no sense. It's a total paradox.
For decades, this mystery just sat there. I mean, how could you possibly figure it out without damaging this one-of-a-kind, priceless artifact? Well, the answer, as it so often does, came from modern science. We finally developed tools that could see inside the dagger without leaving a single scratch. And the hero of our story is a technique called X-ray fluorescence spectrometry. Just call it XRF. Now, you can think of it like a high-tech chemical scanner. It's this amazing, completely non-destructive way to figure out the exact elemental recipe of an object. You can zap a priceless artifact like Tut's dagger, and it won't harm it one bit.
So how does this magic actually work? Well, it's pretty slick. First, you shoot a focused beam of X-rays at the dagger. This gets all the atoms inside the metal super energized and excited. Then, as they start to calm down, they release their own X-rays. And here's the cool part. Every single element, like iron or nickel, releases a unique energy signature. It's literally a chemical fingerprint. A detector reads all those little fingerprints and gives you a perfect list of ingredients.
So fast forward to 2016. A team of Italian and Egyptian researchers brings in an XRF scanner and aims it right at the dagger. After almost 100 years of guessing and debating, science was finally about to give us a real, solid answer.
So the big reveal. What did those X-ray fingerprints tell us? Well, the answer was quite literally out of this world.
The results came in and bam, it was all about the nickel. The analysis showed that the dagger's blade had a really high concentration of nickel and cobalt. Now here's the thing, iron that you mine from the Earth's crust has almost no nickel in it. But you know what does have a ton of nickel? Iron meteorites. The chemical signature of that dagger was a dead ringer for iron that came from outer space. I mean, the researchers themselves couldn't have been clearer. They said the unique chemical makeup, especially that high nickel content, was the smoking gun. It was a clear indication, no more doubt, the iron came from a meteorite.
And just like that, the paradox was solved. The ancient Egyptians didn't have some secret, futuristic technology. They had something way cooler. They had a piece of metal that literally fell out of the sky. They didn't need to invent super hot furnaces. They just had to find this incredible gift from the cosmos and forge it.
Now you have to put yourself in their shoes for a second. Imagine you're part of a culture that worships sun gods, that sees the sky as the home of the divine. And then one day, a piece of rock, a piece of metal, falls from that sacred realm.
That wouldn't just be iron, that would be iron from the heavens, a truly divine material, powerful and prestigious, something only a king would be worthy of holding.
And here's a super cool little tidbit. A clue about this whole thing has been hiding in plain sight, in our own language. The word for ironworking, metallurgy, comes from the Greek word for iron, but it shares a root with the word sidereal, which means relating to the stars. It's like a linguistic fossil, showing us that deep down in our history, everyone knew that iron and the stars were connected.
So, mystery solved, right? Case closed. Well, not so fast, because that's the beautiful thing about history. It never stands still. Just as we find one answer, the ground shifts, and a brand new puzzle emerges that, once again, changes everything we thought we knew. Because at almost the exact same time science was solving the Dagger riddle, archaeologists were announcing this massive discovery, the tomb of Thutmose II. And just like the Dagger, this find isn't just handing us answers. Oh no, it's creating a whole new set of really profound questions.
I mean, this discovery is absolutely monumental. Let's be clear, this is the first time a new pharaoh's tomb has been found since King Tut's back in 1922. But it's also a whole new mystery. It was found in a valley we didn't expect, which means our maps of the royal burial grounds might be wrong. The tomb itself shows signs that there was a massive flood, and priests had to scramble to move the burial. That means there's a second, hidden tomb out there somewhere. But maybe the biggest bombshell of all, this discovery makes it very, very likely that the mummy we've had in our museums for ages, the one we've all called Thutmose II, might not be him at all. We might have had the wrong guy this whole time.
And isn't that just the perfect picture of how history works? You've got Tut's dagger, a century-old question finally put to bed by modern science. And then you have Thutmose II's tomb, where good old-fashioned digging has just unearthed a whole new set of questions. One chapter closes, and another one, just as thrilling, swings wide open. It really sums it all up, like the Egyptian Minister of Tourism and Antiquities said, "Moments like these are truly extraordinary. They're not just about adding a new fact to a textbook. They're about deepening our connection to this incredible, shared human story and reminding us how much there is still left to find." Which brings us to a final, really fascinating thought I want to leave you with. The story of Tut's dagger proves our tools can solve mysteries we once thought were impossible. And the tomb of Thutmose II proves there are still huge, fundamental discoveries just waiting beneath the sand. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other facts that we all take for granted are just one discovery or one new scientific test away from being completely turned on their head?